Hey everyone, I just wanted to follow up on yesterday's promise on Instagram. Basically, I introduced kind of the backstory of the internal label of the Targa Florio Jacket, which is due out this fall. First foray into outerwear for Standard H, proper garment with a liner and everything. It's going to be an amazing jacket that I'm very, very proud of. It's a piece I've worked on for a long time. And in the process of getting all the details right, as I mentioned yesterday, the internal labels were kind of a way to differentiate this jacket from also just like a t-shirt as far as some of the details go. And with the size, kind of the display of the size and the labels inside of the jacket, I wanted them to be special. And I saw the chassis plate from an Alfa Romeo and I was like, wow, that would make a really cool internal label of a jacket. Like if you have a blazer at home or a suit, they usually have like a label inside on the liner. And I was really inspired by that chassis plate in the engine bay of an Alfa Romeo. And so as a result, I had these labels made that I thought were going to be sufficient. They're made of the same material that I actually made the neck labels of the Avantis out of, and they came out well. The details are okay. They were laser cut because I knew they would have to be stitched into the pocket that I'm having inside of the jacket. Now, what those ended up looking like were this. And like I said, I mean, the detail's pretty good. It's fairly legible. Some of these words down here are just not quite as legible, but was overall okay with this. The problem was the laser cut. So with the rim or the edge, or the border more specifically of these, it got tricky because the laser isn't as accurate as, you know, somebody like me would hope it is. Sometimes the border were a little off kilter and just, it was just okay. And in the sample process, I put these inside of the jacket. Now, I'm only having 50 of these jackets made to start because they're so expensive to make. I just quite literally couldn't afford to make a larger run. Now, if I were making thousands of these, then, you know, that's a different price per unit. But with only making 50, it's arguably too expensive to wholesale this jacket, quite frankly. And as far as the first design goes of these labels, it was good. The material's great. The design, the layout, everything was fine. But, you know, also with regards to costing and stuff, when you're building something, like usually you'd want to get a sample, right? Like you'd want to see it. But I was pretty confident with the neck labels and such in my t-shirts that I thought I would just give it a go, have these run. And as a result, the laser cut was a little off, like I said. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? I think it's actually going to look better, not only just from the edges rather, but I really feel like it's going to look better if this itself was a little more structured. Now, because when you sewed this on the pocket, anytime you put something in the pocket, you would see this sort of bend and morph. I'm exaggerating this a little bit, but it was enough to bother me. And it at the price point this jacket's going to be, I wanted something a little bit more robust, much in the same way I like my t-shirts a little more robust. So these went bye-bye, and I actually had new ones made, and these are basically patches. This is effectively the same patch that my hat is. And as you can see, maybe the legibility is far better. The color is great. The structure is perfect. There's a marrowed edge the same way I have on my hats, patches. I couldn't be more pleased with the way this patch really turned out. And when it stitches around, you're going to have a little bit of an edge here inside the jacket, which is kind of cool because the chassis plate itself inside the engine bay is only tacked on two sides. So there's kind of like that same sort of feeling where the edge is sticking up slightly. Like I said, the more I thought about it, the more I needed something different. And that kind of leads me to how you can make very expensive mistakes in this industry, frankly. Yeah, so I have all of these labels that are now being thrown away. These are $500 worth of labels. And, you know, it's a shame, but that's just the cost of doing business. People ask me all the time, like, you know, what could you change and what would you do different? And I just, you know, sampling is so expensive that when you do have the confidence of going forward with an idea, just know that if it is wrong, it's more than likely going to be a very costly mistake. So anyway, and that's mainly due to the minimums, frankly, because this is literally, I'm making 50 jackets, like I said. This is the minimum I had to buy. You have to buy 1,000 labels just to make 50 jackets. So then it's a guesswork of what size breakdown do you get, especially if you're gonna move forward and produce more of these. You're trying to predict what's gonna sell, larges versus mediums, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's this constant sort of guessing game that one has to do in figuring out what to order, how to make it, how many to make, all the rest of that. And yeah, so that's the latest $500 mistake that I've made in running Standard H for something so simple as one may think as an internal label for a jacket. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're wondering the watch today, I am wearing the Kudoke 2. Love it. Absolutely love it, with the sun and moon up there at 12 o'clock for the day-night indicator. Hope everybody's having a great week. And yeah, catch you soon on Instagram or what have you.